Good morning. This is Attorney Arnold. Is there anyone on from the jail?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Am I able to speak with my client this morning, Mr. Egal? I'm sorry, I didn't know if you guys were already on the first position. I thought I was still a little early.
You got Mr. Egal. How you said? Mr. Arnold?
Yes, Mr. Egal, that's my client.
Okay, he's going to be on my next stop when I go to the fifth floor. You need to talk to him?
Yes, I do,
Okay.
if possible.
What's your number?
Should I call down? Should I call down? My number is 404 454 9394.
454-9394?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call you when I get to the fifth floor with him.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Courtroom Two, Ms. Helen. Ms. Helen, are you available?
Yes, Deputy.
Hey, listen, I got Magyar here. Do you still need to talk to him?
Position 20?
Yes.
No, sir. That is a MH reset, and it was a do not bring. And we actually sent out an updated
Yeah.
email.
It said hold for announcement.
Can I send you the updated announcements? If you can send me your email address in the chat, I can.
Ms. Helen, give me a call at 22392.
22392. Okay, I'm calling.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Judge Law, and welcome to a very rainy Thursday, September February 3rd, 2022, and I do apologize for the delay, but let's get started. My name is Judge Lal, and I am presiding over the Fulton State all-purpose calendar. This is a list of misdemeanor cases in which individuals have already been accused, bonds have already been set, and most of our cases are with individuals who are still at our detention facility at Rice Street. Let's see now. I have 6 North and Courtroom 2. Courtroom 2, is everyone present in Courtroom 2? I was just going to make my Courtroom 2 is still getting organized. All right. Good morning, Deputy. How are you?
How you doing, Judge Law? Welcome back. You've been sorely missed.
Oh, I'm around. I'm not disappeared. Okay. Deputy, is everyone in the courtroom, at least for some of the positions on the calendar?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this, as I said, is the state all-purpose calendar. If you do have an active criminal misdemeanor case against you, please remember you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court about the facts of your case, your statements will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one of our attorneys from the Public Defender's Office or Conflict Counsel will be representing you. I'm going to begin with 6 North. Who do we have there, please?
14, Mr. Dudley.
I'm sorry, Deputy.
Yeah, that's the one that's in court today.
All right.
The
Did you say
family.
Bentley?
No, he said Dudley.
Dudley.
He said 14.
Okay.
That's the one. That's the one with the parents in the court.
Yes. All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Who is talking?
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. Who's
Your
talking?
Honor, I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. All right. We have position 6 North. We have position number 14, Jacori Dudley. Mr. Dudley's case is 22 CR 0000274F. Mr. Dudley has members of his family or friends who are here in support of him. Who would like to testify? You'd like to testify?
This is mother.
All right, so you'll be testifying. If you don't mind, if you could walk around the courtroom and come to the podium right here. Don't go through those double doors, all the way around. All right, and just remain at the microphone and you'll be able to see everyone on the screen, all right? Mr. Dudley is at 6 North. Do you see, if you look at the panel at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see 6 North.
Yes, ma'am, I see
All right,
him.
okay. So Mr. Dudley is accused of possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce and fair evasion from September 19, 2022. And he's presently here on bond. Mr. Dudley's also been advised of his constitutional rights. Who's representing him?
He don't have representative.
I'm Your Honor.
All right.
Oh.
We have attorney Zach Findling.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Findling, what are we planning to do on position 14?
Mr.
Mr. Dudley.
Your Honor, I realized that on some of these I messed up the order, so
That's okay.
yeah, so I apologize.
That's
Some
all. I'll
of mine-
refer to them by name, Mr.
Some of
Dudley.
mine are going to be incorrect.
Okay.
So 14 is actually a guilty plea.
So it's going to be a
we're-
plea
Yeah,
hearing?
and we're agreeing to
Okay,
the balance suspended and time served.
all right. I'm sorry. Could you give me your name, please?
My name is Chevy and Dudley.
Chevy and Dudley.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Mr. Dudley, we are first going to hear from the prosecutor as to what they are offering in terms of a plea, and then we'll hear from your attorney. Ms. Dudley may be speaking as well, and then we will proceed to see whether you want to plead guilty to the offenses brought against you. For purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath? Mr. Dudley? And Ms. Dudley, if you want to testify, you can raise your right hand as well. Do you both solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Mr. Dudley? Do you so swear? Speak louder, okay? Because I'm going to have to hear you.
Yes.
Okay, now I can hear you. All right, now you can put your mask back on, but put it over your nose. Excellent. Thank you. All right, Ms. Mitchell, good morning. What is the state's offer on Mr. Dudley?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
The plea recommendation is 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served, 16 days. So this is a time served offer. Balance is paid.
All right. Does he have any suspensions from MARTA at the present time that you know of?
No, Your Honor, not that I know of.
Thank you. And this would be concurrent for both charges, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. And we agree to the state's recommendation. Additionally, we do stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. All right. Ms. Shevin Dudley, if I find that he's going to enter a knowing, voluntary, and intelligent plea in this particular case, then I will accept the recommended sentence, and unless he has any other holds by any other cases, he should be released within 24 hours.
Well, the purpose of me coming, I thought it was actually going to be for all the charges that he had. And I was trying to get his bond lowered so that we can get him out.
Does he have another case with me today?
I'm not sure. You all are the first people that I talked to about my son case because of the fact he was offered a public defender. I've been trying to contact them, but never got a call, never got an email. I was working with a caseworker, Michael, and he pretty much told me on yesterday that they took him off the case because of the additional charges that he had, which is an armed robbery charge.
Okay. So right now he's dealing with this misdemeanor case. And if you'd like to remain in the courtroom, I'll try to find out what his other cases are.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So one case at a time.
And I also wanted to present that he did have a disability, well, I was told to bring it.
It's important, but at the present time, it won't impact the outcome of this case. Because if I accept the plea, the case is over and done with.
Yes.
So this will be one case off his list.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mr. Dudley, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
All right. Are you under the influence of any kind of medication or drugs? I can't hear you. You need to speak up. Come closer and speak up.
Ma'am.
You are under the influence of medication and drugs?
Oh, ma'am.
All right. Are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Mr. Finley?
Yes.
Okay. Now listen very carefully. If you decide to plead guilty to these charges of marijuana possession and fair evasion, then you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court for this case, to have a trial in this case, to confront your accuser, have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's case, to examine and cross-examine witnesses, present your defenses, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If you plead guilty, you have to give up these rights. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
No, ma'am.
If you don't want to give up these rights, then you want a trial. Is that correct?
Correct.
Listen very carefully, Mr. Dudley. If you want to plead guilty and be sentenced to 16 days in jail and have this case over and done with, then you have to give up your constitutional right to challenge this case in the future.
Judge Law,
Yes.
give me one moment. I realized, I apologize. I know what I have here is correct. It got mixed up, the listing. So this is actually.
Hey, Judge, can Mr. Finling and 6 North get a separate phone call and we can move on to one of my cases?
Mr. Finling, any objection to that? I think, first let me confirm something. Is Mr. Dudley taking a plea today for balance suspended?
Yes, Your Honor.
He is.
Yes.
All right. Miss Helen, let's hold on you.
Okay,
Mr.
Judge.
Mr. Dudley, I'm going to ask you again. Do you want to plead guilty or not guilty to these charges today?
Not guilty.
So you want to have a trial? All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
Mr. Finling, it looks like your client is not quite clear on what he's doing
Right.
today. So 6 North, do we have a
Right.
phone
No,
number? for
I
you?
messed up. Yeah, the order. If I could, some mine are gonna be in.
Okay, first of all, Mr. Finling, once and for all, is this particular client Dudley pleading guilty today, or is his case being arraigned?
He is pleading guilty, Your Honor.
All right. In that case, do you have the number to 6 North? All right. 6 North and Mr. Finling are going into a breakout room. 6 North, Deputy?
Yes.
Please make sure that you go and you click on the join the breakout room. Okay. Courtroom, Mr. Finling, we good?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Courtroom 2, who do we have in the seat, please? Courtroom 2, who do we have?
I'm sorry, Judge Law, I thought it was unmuted. This is position 4, Mr. Varner.
Okay. If you are not an attorney, if you are a witness or a alleged victim, please make sure your screen's on mute. Asha Ahmed, please make sure your screen's on mute. Thank you.
And Judge, Mr. Finling has positions 1 through 19. I have positions 20 through 38.
Okay. Courtroom 2, 20 through 38. Is that correct? Ms. Helen, did you say 20?
Yes, Judge. Yes,
Okay.
Judge.
All right. Before we move on, Mr. Edward, who's your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who's your
Alante
client?
Coleman.
Who?
Alante Coleman.
Alante Coleman. Is there an Alante Coleman in courtroom 2?
Ante Coleman.
Alante Coleman. All right, he's not been brought into the courtroom 2 yet, so please hold. Do I have any other private attorneys?
Good morning, Judge. Attorney Arnold. How are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. And what's your client's name?
Muhammad Egal. And I've already spoken with the jail. I'm supposed to be speaking with him. I don't know if we need a breakout room or not, but I do need to speak with him briefly.
All right. Mr. Egal, is he in courtroom 2? Mr. Egal.
No, he's not in here.
All right, position 16, Muhammad Egal is not in courtroom 2, and so I don't see him. So Mr. Arnold and Mr. Edward, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to hold until the jail brings him around, okay? All right, Mr. Finling, are we ready to resume with your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and what is he gonna do?
He wants to plead not guilty.
He wants to plead not guilty, okay. So we're going to further notice this case for trial, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Dudley, for position number 4, we have accused of possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce and fair evasion. Would you like to waive a reading of the accusation, Mr. Finley?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Dudley, instead of taking a plea today, you would be pleading not guilty to these charges of possession of marijuana in less than 1 ounce in case number 22 CR 000-274F. The alleged incident is from January 19, 2022, allegedly in Fulton County, Georgia. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case is going to be scheduled for a trial before the division judge. As to when the trial is going to be held, I do not have those dates before me. But in the meantime, I would like to inform you that once we get to trial, the prosecution has the complete burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the prosecution prevails, you could be convicted of 1 or more of these offenses and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine for the possession of marijuana, and up to a 6 months penalty or $1,000 fine for the fair evasion. Given this information, how do you plead? Mr. Dudley, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
All right, your case has been arraigned and it's going to be further notice for trial. All right, Miss Dudley, if you'd like to come back to the microphone.
You understand he's out on signature charges. He's not holding him in jail.
Yeah, yes, please. Yeah, please. I know.
He don't know. He don't know.
All right. Miss Dudley, as you can see, he's already had a discussion with his attorney, Mr. Zach Finling. And Mr. Zach Finling, could you just announce your phone number? There's a pen at the bottom of the podium. Oh, Ms. Lewis is going to write it down for you. Announce the number for the Public Defender's Office.
Yes, my number is 404 717 6656.
And just put down counsel's name as well, Zach Finling. All right. Ms. Finling, at the present time for this particular charges, the bond is not holding him in jail. He's got a signature bond. If he resolves the issues in his other cases, then this case is not holding him in jail. He can actually be released on his signature. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We're going to give you the name of the attorney, Zach Finling, who's already had a discussion with his client, and his client has made a decision with his attorney's counsel to have a trial in this matter. Now, if you have a different opinion, you may consult with the attorney, but at the end of the day, Mr. Finling is going to be representing his client, okay? And he's obligated to follow his client's instructions.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else?
I just, like I said, the court has a mild case of retardation. He's also ADHD, you know what I'm saying? That's why I said I wanted to present the paperwork to the court, because he's not able to make a decision on his own, really.
All right. So let's let you get in touch with Mr. Zach Finling. And Mr. Finling, please consult with also Mr. Derek Howard to see if MH is a possibility in this case.
I will, Your Honor.
All right. So I've alerted your Mr. Finling, who will go and look into the issues that you have raised and see if Mr. Dudley's case can be placed on a different track.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. All right. We have concluded with position number 14. We can move on to courtroom number 2, and that would be position number 9, I believe.
No, it's position 4, Your Honor.
4, I'm sorry. Position 4, and we have Dwayne Lamar Barner, case number 21 CR 001-600J. Mr. Barner is accused of simple battery and allegedly on December 9, 2020. And I see that this case is going to be arraigned and we're going to address bond. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Barner, your attorney is Zach Finling, and I understand that you want to enter a plea of not guilty to the charge brought against you and have the case scheduled for trial. So therefore, I just want to inform you, first of all, you've been advised of your constitutional right to remain silent. You are accused of misdemeanor offense of simple battery by the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
Yes.
Position 4 and 5.
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Barner, you're also position number 5, which is case number 22 CR 00269J, criminal trespass and damage to property. All right. So there are 2 cases which are being arraigned. Were you aware of that, Mr. Barner?
Yes, ma'am.
2 cases. All right. And in the second case, the alleged offense is on September 1st, 2021, criminal trespass and damage to property. Do you waive a reading of the accusation in that case as well, Mr. Finling?
Yes, Your Honor.
I do, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Barner, Mr. Finling. With regards to both these cases, upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for a trial before the division judge. At the time of the trial, the prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt and overcome your legal presumption of innocence. If the state prevails, you could be convicted of one or more of these charges in these two cases and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense. Given this information, how do you plead to both cases?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, both cases have been arraigned and further notice for trial. Let's begin with position number 4. What is his current bond, Mr. Finley?
For his current bond is 1,000 surety, Your Honor.
All right, and let me see, that was from December 9, 2020, and the second case is from September 1st, 2020. And this is a bench warrant. Okay, all right, I'm prepared to hear your motion for bond modification, Mr. Finley.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Barner has obviously been stuck in. He cannot afford the $1,000. He really hopes to get out and help support his family. And that's why we are asking for a signature bond, Your Honor, or a bond not exceeding $500.
All right, Ms. Mitchell, who is here?
Yes, Your Honor. On this case for position 4, I have that the bond is a $1,500 surety, and then on position 5 is $1,000 surety.
Okay,
I apologize, I got this mixed up.
that's fine, no worries. Go ahead, Ms. Mitchell. Any objection to amending it to a reduced bond or a signature bond?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant originally had $1,000 signature bond, and he failed to appear on this case twice last year. As you're familiar with the case, Your Honor, this is an instance where the defendant was on the MARTA train and he spit on Mr. Clayton Sanders. And when he was followed by the dispatcher supervisor, which was Mr. Sanders, Mr. Sanders observed defendant knock over plants and then hit an unknown white male in the face. So the state has MH concerns in this case. So we're gonna request that the bond remain the same. Oh, in addition to that, the defendant has 4 simple battery arrests and 2 simple battery convictions, along with 4 failure to appears and 3 probation violations. Nothing further, Your Honor.
I'm trying to see. So I've got Mr. Barner also has a residential address at Peachtree Street. Is that correct, Mr. Finley?
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
All right, okay. Anything else to add, Mr. Finley?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. With respect to the second case, I had set the $1,000 bond based not only in his GCIC, but also on his failure to appear. On April 6, 2021, Mr. Barner received a signature bond through the jail with the only requirement that he comply with the bond conditions and that he returns to court on June 28, 2021. He failed to appear. The case was reset to October 4th, 2021, and he still failed to appear. But I guess he failed to appear on October 4th, 2021, because he was arrested soon thereafter for another offense involving the criminal trespass and damage to battery. Mr. Barner, I'm trying to find a good reason on why I should release you on a signature bond, and I don't have a good reason. So the bond amounts remain the same, and we will have this case scheduled for trial. Thank you. Next case, please.
Position number 7, Mr. Brock, Courtney Brock.
Mr. Courtney Dontavius Brock is case number 22 CR 000303J, accused of theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass from a January 21st, 2022 incident. Mr. Brock has been advised of his right to remain silent. and he's represented by Mr. Finley. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And we are going to have a non-negotiated plea. Is it still a non-negotiated plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Brock, in a non-negotiated plea, you're first going to hear from the prosecutor as to what the recommendation is for these charges, if you decide to plead guilty or no contest. And then your attorney is going to give me the alternative recommendation. I will let you know which recommendation I'm going to accept before you make a decision as to whether you want to proceed with the plea. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's plea recommendation on this case is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served 14 days, balance probated, stay away from Walmart, a theft prevention course, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. In this case, defendant was caught shoplifting at Walmart, where he obtained miscellaneous items. And the defendant had been criminal trespassed from this location several times and continued to return. Your Honor, the defendant has a burglary conviction in 2007 and another theft by shoplifting case in 2021. He also has 3 criminal trespass charges, along with 11 failure to appears and 2 probation violations. So due to his history, this is the state's plea recommendation, Your Honor.
All right. And would this sentence run concurrent for both charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
With, of course, the theft condition being related to theft by shoplifting, correct?
I'm sorry, say that one more time. Couldn't
The
hear.
theft prevention class, that would be related to the theft by shoplifting.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry, one moment. What was are we on position? Sorry, I got
We're in
papers.
position 7, sorry.
7.
And
I
that
apologize.
was- No
I got
problem.
it. So Mr. Brock is originally from Atlanta. He is the main breadwinner for his family. He is the main provider. And as we know, bond is not meant to be punitive, but rather to ensure his return to court. And he has insured me.
But we're not talking bond. We're talking the terms of the plea.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
The plea offer is 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served 14 days, which means that he would have 1 more day to serve at the jail, and then he'll be placed on probation to complete a theft prevention class.
I apologize.
He needs to stay away from Walmart and not consume any alcohol, drugs, or not possess any weapons or firearms while he's on probation. Does
I
he have
understand
an
your.
objection?
I apologize. Yes,
No problem.
we are asking. We do not agree to the theft prevention course. And additionally, Your Honor, we are asking for if he does have to do the theft prevention course, once he does, if probation can become not reporting or the balance could be suspended. And additionally, Your Honor, we would ask for the fees to be waived as well.
All right. Is he currently employed?
Yes, so he works in maintenance, and as a groundkeeper, he did not have employment at the moment, but he assured me that he was going to try to gain employment once he got out of jail.
Oh, thank you. Who do we have for pretrial? Mr. Tucson, Ms. Harrison. Good morning, Ms. Harrison. Good morning. Mr. Brock, position number 7. How many convictions does he have for criminal trespass or shoplifting?
1 moment, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, on my end, and if pretrial could double check for me, it doesn't appear that he has convictions for theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass, but he does have a burglary conviction in 2007.
Oh, 2007, okay. But I see an open case for trespass, 21 CR 0075545J.
Yes, Your Honor, and a theft by shoplifting as well, a separate case in 2021.
There are no theft convictions.
All right, but other open cases, all right. So he wants to either have the theft by prevention class removed or have probation go non-reporting. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to require him to actually complete the theft by prevention class, and he will be on active probation for the entire 12 months. I'm going to waive probation fees for the first 4 months, which is going to include February, March, April, and May. So that means hopefully he would be in full employment status by then. He would be paying probation fees from June 1st onwards. And once he completes all 12 months, then this obligation for this case will be completed. So Mr. Brock, would you still like to move forward with this plea, or would you like your case arraigned and scheduled for trial?
Feel like Bill pleaded me. I take it on. So I can get out and succeed.
I'm sorry, could you repeat what you just said?
I said I take the plea, so I get out and succeed and be successful. Go ahead and take care of the business. I take the plea, go ahead and do the probation and pay it off.
You would need to be on probation. You would need to spend 1 more day at jail. After that, you'll be on probation. Your probation fees are waived up to and including the end of May 2022. You start paying probation fees from June 1st, 2022 onwards until the 12 months are completed. At all times while you're on probation, you have to stay away from all Walmart stores. You need to complete a theft prevention class and not consume any alcohol, no drugs, no illegal drugs, and not possess any weapons or firearms. Those will be the terms of the sentence. Are you willing to accept that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Finley, do you stipulate to venue and ID?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Brock, please sit up. Do you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you will provide is the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under, you can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Mr. Finley?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
If you decide to plead guilty to these charges today, you would have to waive your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's case, present your defenses, and confront your accuser, and have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to waive these rights?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Is anyone forcing you to take this plea today?
No, ma'am.
How do you plead to 1 count of theft by shoplifting and 1 count of criminal trespass?
Plead guilty.
Your sentences will be as follows. For the theft by shoplifting is 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement. Credit for time served 14 days. You have 1 day to serve at the Fulton County Jail. Once you've completed that, you'll be released and you have to report to probation within 48 hours of being released. While on probation, you need to complete a theft prevention class and stay away from Walmart. This sentence will run concurrent with the criminal trespass charge. And at all times, you're not to consume any alcoholic beverages, no illegal drugs, and no weapons and no firearms. Your probation fees will be waived up to and including May of 2022. You'll start paying probation fees from June 1st, 2022, until the rest of the 12 months is completed. Any questions?
How many more days you say I have to spend in jail?
one more day.
All right,
Thank you. That concludes this case.
thank you.
Your Honor, if
Your
I,
Honor, is that also position one on the add-on? Does it include both cases?
I apologize. He is position 1 as well.
Okay, what are we doing with? Okay, I mentioned that case, but nobody brought it up. So,
I apologize, Your Honor.
Mr. Brock, were you planning a plea on this additional case?
Which case is that?
Let's find out. I have
That was
another case, 21 CR 007-545J. Mr. Brock, this was the other open case for criminal trespass, December 4th, 2021 is the incident date. We all,
That's a year before I entered it. It was over a year for the criminal trespass, but they pulled up on me and said I had a warrant for criminal trespass for Dollar Tree. It was over a year. They said we saw you in the store today.
you're exactly right. 545J is the, he's got a signature bond through the jail. This is the Dollar Tree situation. Do we want to arraign this case or are we taking a plea?
I know this is a negotiated plea, Your Honor.
All right. Okay, Mr. Brock is already under oath. Ms. Mitchell, what is the recommendation for Mr. Brock on the add-on?
it's gonna be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served, 17 days, balance suspended, so this is a time served plea. Stay away from Dollar Tree on 6055 Old National Highway, South Fulton. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. And we do agree to the state's recommendation. And additionally, Judge Law, we stipulate to the factual basis, ID, and venue.
Thank you, Mr. Finley. Mr. Brock, are you ready to proceed with the plea on this other case for criminal trespass? If you decide to accept the plea, it's time served and this case will be closed out.
Yes, ma'am, I accept the plea.
All right. I've already advised you of your rights. And again, I'd just like to remind you that if you decide to accept this offer, that you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or jury, confront your accuser, present your defenses, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to waive your rights for this case as well?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to this additional count of criminal trespass?
I plead guilty.
Your sentence is time served. That completes this case. Thank you. All right.
Position number
Next case
12.
in courtroom 2, please.
Position number 12, Mr.
12.
Daniel.
And if we could have Mr. Egal and Mr. Edwards' case also. Mr. Edward, could you remind us again your client's last name?
Coleman.
Coleman, that's right. Coleman and Egal.
Your Honor, they're on the upper floors. The officers, he's roving, so they're just gonna have to wait till you get to those floors.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that update. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
If you're ready.
All right, 5 North, we will be with you very shortly. Courtroom 2, we have Quavius Devontae Daniel, accused of battery domestic violence from an offense date of July 11th, 2021. According to my little cheat sheet, this is going to be a non-negotiated plea. Excuse me, my cheat sheet says, yeah, non-negotiated plea for Mr. Daniel. And Mr. Daniel, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Mr. Finley. Are we still proceeding with a non-negotiated matter? All right, Mr. Finley is on mute. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, we are, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Daniel, we're first going to hear from the prosecutor, then I'm going to hear from Mr. Finley, and I'll let you know which option I'm going to select. Ms. Mitchell?
Yeah. The state's plea recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served, 30 days. So this is time served plea as well. Balance probated, no further contact. I'm sorry, this is not a time served plea. Balance probated, no further contact with victim Ambria, spelled Amberia, Brooks. A stay away from 4001 Lakemont Drive, Atlanta, a family violence intervention program, 40 hours community service, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. In this case, defendant battered Ms. Brooks during a verbal dispute by throwing her to the ground, causing visible injuries to her face. And yeah, nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. When I spoke with Mr. Daniel, he did agree to do the family intervention course and the 40 hours community service as well. He was just adamantly hoping that once he does complete each of those, if his probation can become not reporting or be suspended, Your Honor.
And what's the state's position on non-reporting or suspended probation?
Your Honor, I mean, he failed to appear twice on this case, so we're going to stand on the balance being probated.
All right. And Ms. Harrison, does Mr. Daniel, position number 12, have any prior convictions for battery, simple battery, or any alleged violent convictions?
No prior convictions, Your Honor.
All right. I will agree to this recommendation offered by the state, but I will place Mr. Daniel on non-reporting probation once he has completed 40 hours of voluntary community service and the 6-month domestic violence intervention program. He must complete the program with the necessary certificate before his probation will be placed on a non-reporting basis. But at all times, whether it's reporting or non-reporting, he must stay away from 4001 Lakemont Drive and have no contact with Amberia Brooks. Is this something that Mr. Daniel would like to accept?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Finling, in that regard, do you stipulate to the venue and ID?
I do, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Daniel, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Are you under the influence of any kind of illegal drugs, medication, or alcoholic beverages?
No, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with the representation of Mr. Finling?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is anyone forcing you or inducing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
If you decide to go ahead and plead guilty to this charge today, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to have the assistance of counsel to present your defenses, challenge the state's case, confront your accuser, and as well as have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you plead to one count of battery, domestic violence?
Guilty.
The sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 30 days. You'll be released within 24 hours. And once you are released, you have 48 hours to report to your probation officer. So today's Thursday, so I'm assuming you will report on Monday. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. While you're on probation, you're to complete a 6-month domestic violence intervention program and complete 40 hours of voluntary community service. At all times while you're on probation, active or non-reporting, you're not to consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. And you are to also stay away from 4001 Lakemont Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. No contact with Amberia Brooks, which means you stay 200 yards away from her. You do not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner, whether it's in person, through a third party, or through any kind of computer or electronic device, including cell phones. Once you've completed the domestic violence program and community service, your probation will be non-reporting. Anything else, Mr. Finley?
No, Your Honor.
All right, that concludes this case. Looks like he's paid fees.
I got position number 9, Mr. Coleman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Coleman is position number 9, and his case is 22 CR 000075F, in which he's been accused of simple battery, domestic violence from December 3rd, 2021. His attorney, Mr. Edward, is also present on Zoom. Mr. Coleman, do you see your attorney on the Zoom screen? Mr. Edward, if you'd just like to wave your hand, maybe he'll.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right. With regards to position number 9, Mr. Edward, how would we like to proceed?
Be honest, it's Adams, Ed Adams.
Oh, Ed
Edward.
Adams, excuse me.
That's okay.
I know you as Ed, but it says Edwards, so I wasn't sure. Sorry. Okay.
John, we're not able to resolve the case today, so we wish to waive arraignment and plead not guilty.
All right. If you like to waive arraignment, you would need to file your waiver by today and email it to Katrina Lewis. Otherwise, I can go ahead and arraign him. And if you want to waive a reading of the accusation, we can move forward.
We can go ahead and do it. We can go ahead and do arraignment today. Then, you know.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Coleman, I understand that you'll be entering a not guilty plea today. In this particular case, the Fulton County Solicitor General's office has accused you of simple battery domestic violence. And upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be further notice for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecution has the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt and overcome your legal presumption of innocence. Given this information, how do you plead? If the state does succeed in getting a conviction, you could face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Plead not guilty.
All right, sir. Your case has been arraigned and it's going to be further notice for trial. Anything else, Mr. Adams?
No, Your Honor.
All right, this concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, position number 1, Mr. Askew.
5 North, who do you have next?
Number 1, Mr. Askew.
Okay. The other person we are seeking is Mr. Muhammad Egal.
He's talking to his lawyer now.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Mr. Tyrese SQ is position 1, case number 21 CR 004233C, accused of battery domestic violence allegedly on July 23rd, 2021. Mr. SQ, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Zach Finling. Mr. Finling, we are going to arraign this case.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Do you waive a reading of the accusation?
I do.
All right. Mr. Askew, you are accused of battery domestic violence, and upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will be further notice for trial. At the time of the trial, the prosecution would have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If they succeed, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead?
Not guilty.
Your case has been arraigned and further notice for trial. I believe this concludes this proceeding. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Number 16, number 6, Mr. Borden.
Mr. Lawrence McKell Borden, case 22 CR 000283Y, is position 6, accused of obstruction of a law enforcement officer, allegedly on January 19, 2022. And this is going to be a negotiated plea. Is that still status, Mr. Finley?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Borden, you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Any statements you make, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney and you're represented by Mr. Zach Finley. I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea. For purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, what's the recommendation, please? Oh, are you the ASG for position 6?
Yes, Your Honor. What was the position number again?
Position 6,
I lost my
Mr.
place.
Borden.
The state's plea recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served, balance suspended. So this is a time served plea and no further violation of Georgia law.
All right. Mr. pending. Does your client accept that plea, and do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Borden does agree to the plea, and we do agree to the state's recommendation. And additionally, we stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID.
Thank you. Mr. Borden, are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcoholic beverages?
No.
And are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney?
Yes.
If you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, have the assistance of counsel, to confront your accuser, challenge the state's evidence, present your defenses, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of obstruction of a law enforcement officer?
Yes.
Please repeat.
Yes.
I heard guilty. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Borden, your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 16 days, bail suspended, and hopefully there will be no other infractions with the law. All right?
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Your Honor, I have an announcement at the court's pleasure.
Yes.
For Muhammad E. Gal, I have spoken with him. We have received an offer from the state. We're going to move this forward to a trial calendar. He's actually being held in jail currently on a aggravated assault charge. But we're going to probably go to trial on this one. I would just ask for a trial date if possible.
I cannot give you a trial date. I will need to arraign the case, and then the case will be scheduled for trial by the division judge. And this is Mr. Egal, correct? Position number, was it 9 or 11?
He's in front of the screen now, position number
16. Position 16. This case is assigned to Judge Myra Dixon, and it was arraigned on December 16, 2021, and he had an amended bond order issued on that same day, where the bond is a $2,000 surety bond, no contact with Catherine Light, and to stay away from the Howell Mill Road location. Since it's already arraigned, and if you do not have a plea today, it will be further notice for Judge Dixon's trial calendar. And he would need to contact her litigation manager to get a date certain.
Thank you so much, Judge. As far as today, that was all the business that I have. May I be excused, Judge?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Arnold. All right.
Thank you. Good seeing you again. Have a great one.
You too, sir. Thank you. Mr. Egal, your case will be further notice for trial. Thank you. Okay, so position 16 is further notice for trial. Next position, please. Courtroom 2, who do we have next, please?
Who's next? Position 23, Mr. McDowell.
23, okay. I have position 23, Trevolis McDowell, and he has one case with us. Miss Helen, is that correct?
That's correct, Judge. This is a non-negotiated plea with restitution at issue.
All right. So Mr. Trevolis McDowell, case number 22 CR 000-279C, is accused of simple battery and criminal trespass and damage to property. Allegedly, this incident occurred on April 27 in 2021. And as a non-negotiated plea, I will first hear from Prosecutor Webb, and then I will hear from PD counsel, Ms. Helen, after which I'll let you know which recommendation I'll accept. Mr. McDowell, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Helen. Ms. Webb, good morning. What's the state's recommendation for both charges?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning. How are you? The state is recommending 12 months to serve, 60 days, credit for time served, restitution for the broken door frame at the victim is Dynasty Williams' home, balance probated, FVIP, our Family Violence Intervention Program, Your Honor, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, 40 hours of community service, and no further contact with Ms. Dynasty Williams. And that's Dynasty Dynasty Williams, common spelling. Your Honor, I'm sorry. The state is making this recommendation, as Your Honor knows. This incident did occur on April 27th of 2021. The defendant and Ms. Dynasty do share a child together. He came to her home located at 2301 Gabi Road and kicked down the apartment door. The responding officer did note the damages to the door upon his arrival, including seeing a footprint on the center of the door and a broken door frame. This did occur after a dispute and altercation took place inside of the home, where the defendant repeatedly pushed and pulled on Ms. Williams. The officer did find signs of a struggle as her clothes were overstretched, Your Honor. And for those reasons, and considering the defendant's criminal history with the aggravated assault out of DeKalb from 2014 and armed robbery out of DeKalb for 2014, he also has a couple of open cases for family violence out of DeKalb from December of 2021, Your Honor. Those are the basis for the state's recommendation today.
And what's the restitution amount that the state's seeking?
Your Honor, we did, I personally did reach out to Ms. Dynasty. I was not able to get in contact with her. Our victim advocate did speak with her previously at the first appearance hearing. She was unsure what the damages were. I believe she stayed at an apartment, so the apartment complex may have just covered those charges, but we just wanted to ensure if she did pay any out-of-pocket expenses that the defendant covered for that door damage, that the defendant covers it.
It was in April 27, 2021. It's been almost a year, so I doubt she's living with a broken door.
Your Honor, we can waive it. It's fine.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. All right, so that's waived. All right, so Ms. Helen, are we then proceeding with a negotiated plea?
We are, Judge. That was the only thing that we had at issue. So this will be a negotiated plea, Your Honor. We do accept the state's recommendation as it is, and we do. Mr. McDowell, do we have a question? Hold on, Judge.
All right, please unmute Courtroom Two.
Hold on, Mr. McDowell. If you have a procedural question, you can ask me, but if it's about the case.
Like it's a conflict attorney. I have 3 females on my victim case, and I don't feel like I'm supposed to be, I'm not gonna be released from custody, and I'm still in there services today. I don't want to take no plea now. I want to have a male public defender or male DA attorney to help me figure out to notify that credit for time served and stuff like that. Like I don't feel like nobody see my point of view.
Judge, I've spoken to Mr. McDowell. We did reach a conclusion. He is now saying he would like to go pro se. Could Your Honor lead him through that process, please?
And that's not what I heard, but let me just clarify. Mr. McDowell, good morning. My name is Judge Law, and you were represented by a very, very competent attorney, Ms. Catrice Helen, who is very much on top of what needs to be done. But what I understand that you want a male public defense attorney?
Not even just a male public defender attorney, like at least someone to, like, I feel like I'm not to be no offense against females because I'm a male, but at the same time, I didn't know I'm being represented by a female. My DA attorney is a female and the judge is a female. So, and my victim is a female. So it's like all pointing towards like, hey, guys shouldn't do nothing to females as far, or either she's stating a lie or the fact that if I'm being represented like fully to like, I'm not saying I'm not going against my public defender or where she's fully representing me, but as far as like what I was asking for is like nothing's being stated, like as far as just the community service. And that's just something that just could be neither here or there.
Well, until you pointed that out, I did not even notice that yes, I mean, hooray for women empowerment. We've come a long way. Mr. Findling, I'm so sorry you're in the minority right now, but Mr. McDowell, thank you very much for that assessment. I'll be glad to reset your case to a Tuesday. I think it's going to be Judge Morrow who is going to be handling the plea, and last I checked, he's definitely male. Would you like to have your case addressed by Judge Eric Morrow?
someone to like, I really like, I just want the best representative, like, cause what I asking for and what I'm seeing that's been done around me, it seems like I'm the only one getting it stuck into me.
Mr. McDowell, if you are concerned about the judge, the public defense attorney, and the prosecutor being all female right now, that seems to be your big concern, and that you feel that your particular interests are not being represented, I'll be glad to reset your case to Tuesday before Judge Eric Morrow, if that makes you comfortable. But otherwise, you have a right to represent yourself. And if you choose to represent yourself, you are required to understand how the law impacts the particular facts of your case and how that would impact any other facet of any other open cases that you may have. Because I cannot give you advice, and the prosecutor is definitely not going to give you legal advice. So I have one question for you, to which you have, well, actually two questions. First of all, do you want to represent yourself, or would you like the services of a public defender? And I'm not going to make a distinction whether they're male or female.
No, ma'am, I would not like to represent myself.
Okay, so you want the assistance of public defender's office, and
Yes,
Miss
ma'am.
Helen is presently your attorney. Next
Yes.
question. Would you like to proceed with your plea today, or would you like to have that handled on Tuesday, most likely by Judge Morrow?
No, because the DA is not going to change their plea deal, but I would like that to be notified for as coming towards the plea towards the judge, like, because it's what the DA is coming with is their plea probably not change or go get worse. I just wanted that to be notified during the fact of I have a female victim, and I'm all dealing with females right here today.
So the plea offer right now, if you decide to plead guilty to simple battery, domestic violence, and criminal trespass causing damage to property, the plea offer right now is 12 months to serve 16 days, 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for time served 16 days, which means that you'll be in jail for at
14 additional jail days, Judge.
Yeah, you'll be in jail for 14 more days, okay?
And
then listen. Once you complete the 14 additional days, you'll be placed on probation to complete a 6-month domestic violence intervention program, 40 hours of voluntary community service, and at all times while you're on probation, you're to have no contact with Dynasty Williams and to stay away from wherever she lives or wherever she happens to be. Is this a plea offer that you find acceptable, or would you like to have a trial?
It's for because the 60 days I will not be released from confinement. I feel like I've served enough time, and I'm not going to be released from custody today, and I still have probation or restitution to pay that neither the court knows or the victim who's the money going to. Like, you have to let say so, Judge. So
there is no money going to the victim.
Okay, yeah, ma'am.
There is no money going to the victim.
I like to go on with the plea day to get this over with.
You'll be on probation, and you need to complete the domestic violence program, as well as 40 hours voluntary community service. Is that something you are agreeing to do?
Yes, ma'am. It's just the 60 days, and I won't be released from custody. It's just holding me up to deal with my next situation. And I have a son.
All right. He's not ready to take the plea. He's unhappy with the 14 extra days. I'm going to reset your case to, he's got 14 more days. I can reset it to next Thursday SAP calendar, and which will reduce his time in jail to 7 days then. Mr. McDowell, I'm going to make you sit in jail for another 7 days unless you bond out. And I want you to think very seriously about whether you want to accept the plea offer.
I said I would like to accept the plea offer today because I just wanted to be notified in court, because I don't think that you said you just now notified that I do have a female public defender, DA, and judge. I just wanted that to be notified. And
I don't know who you're going to have for public defender or prosecutor next Tuesday. So how am I going to notify you?
you still have the last say so, Your Honor. So it's not like, I just want that to be notified for like.
All right, stop. I'm done with your, you want to be notified, you want to be notified.
No,
Mail
no,
me,
no,
email. That's
no.
all garbage.
No,
Okay,
I
now,
said I
so
would
be
like to
quiet,
go-
be quiet, be quiet. All right. Miss Helen, your client appears to still want you to represent him and that he wants to proceed with the plea offer. So restitution is off the table. And if you want your client to proceed, do you stipulate to factual basis, venue, and ID?
Judge, I'd be uncomfortable doing so because as Mr. McDowell stated, he has some issues with that plea. He has issues with the community service. He has issues with the additional time served. So I would feel more comfortable resetting Mr. McDowell to next week so that he can get the male public defender he'd like. I don't know about a male judge, but I think that would be best with Mr. McDowell because he's not agreeing to this entire plea.
All right. All right, Courtroom 2, this case is reset to February 10th, 2022. It'll be no prejudice to Mr. McDowell because he still has 14 more days to serve at the jail if he had accepted the plea today. So we're going to reset it to February 10th, at which time the plea offer would have been modified to 7 more days in jail. Thank you, Mr. McDowell. Please consider very carefully how you frame your questions next time. Thank you.
Next, we got position 13, Dewberry.
All right, thank you. Position 13 is a negotiated plea. Is that correct, Mr. Finley?
Yes, it is correct, Your Honor. It is a negotiated plea.
Thank you.
One over your nose.
Thank you, Mr. Dewberry. DeMarcus Dewberry is accused of criminal trespass in case 22 CR 000278G from January 19, 2022. Mr. Dewberry, I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Zach Finley. I'm first going to hear from Ms. Mitchell as to what the recommendation is. Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. The plea recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served 16 days, balance suspended. So this is a time served sentence. Stay away from the Shell gas station on 10761 Alpharetta Highway, Roswell. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. And we do agree to the state's recommendation. And additionally, Judge, we stipulate to the venue, ID, and factual basis.
Thank you. If we could unmute Courtroom 2, please. Mr. Dewberry, are you ready to proceed with the plea?
Yeah.
Do you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you will provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you can put your hand down. Are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcohol?
No.
All right. Your mask has to go over your nostrils. That's what the deputy was trying to tell you. Thank you. That's the correct way of wearing the mask. Thank you. All right. And are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Mr. Finley?
Yeah, I think we just said time serving.
That's correct, but you need to stay away from the Shell gas station at all times.
Yeah.
And if you return to the Shell gas station on Alpharetta Highway, you'll be arrested and charged with a new case of criminal trespass. So that's what he's negotiated for you. So are you satisfied with this representation?
Yeah.
And is anyone forcing you to take this plea today?
No.
You have to say yes or no.
No.
Good. All right. So, Mr. Dewberry, if you decide to take this plea, you would have to give up your, excuse me, constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to confront your accuser, challenge the state's case, present your defenses, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yeah. Yes.
And how do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence is going to be 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 16 days, Technically, you've completed your sentence at the jail, balance suspended. Once you are released, you're required to stay away from the Shell gas station at 10761 Alpharetta Highway in Roswell, Georgia. If you are seen on its parking lot, its sidewalks, or on its, I don't know, whatever property belongs to that Shell gas station, they have a right to call the police and have you arrested again. Anything else, Mr. Dubert?
No, I don't understand.
You don't,
I
you don't understand, or you do understand?
No, I understand.
Excellent, thank you. All right, that concludes this case.
Next, we have position 17, Mr. Graham.
It's not on the calendar.
Francois, was that 15?
Position 17, Mr. Graham.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Nakia Sherelle Graham is accused of disorderly conduct from April 30th, 2021. He's been in custody for about 16 days. And Ms. Graham, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney. You're going to be represented by Mr. Zach Finley. And I understand this is going to be a non-negotiated plea.
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Graham, we are first going to hear from the prosecutor, and then I'm going to hear from your attorney, after which I will let you know which option I will accept before we proceed with the possible plea. Understood? Okay. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's plea recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served 20 days, balance probated, to stay away from MARTA, MHET, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, in this case, the defendant was upset and used profanity toward a MARTA rail control personnel. He didn't wear his face mask, and when asked to put it on, he refused. When he was asked to exit the station, he became extremely disorderly by using profanity and direct fighting words such as "I'll F you up, B-I-T-C-H." The defendant exited the station, but was swinging his arms, attempting to throw trash from his hands, and accidentally hit a white male patron's face who was walking beside him. Your Honor, the state has MH concerns due to the factual basis, and this defendant has extensive criminal history of 35 cycles with 16 convictions. The defendant has 1 failure to appear arrest in 2013 and 1 failure to appear conviction in 2004. And 9 probation violations. So that's going to be the basis of our plea recommendation, Your Honor.
Does he have an active MARTA suspension at the present time?
Not that I was able to see on the report.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. We do oppose the MHET, and additionally, Your Honor, we would ask for, if he does have to do that, once it's completed, if it can become non-reporting or the balance be suspended. Additionally, Your Honor, Mr. Graham really stressed that finances are an issue in his life. And so we would be asking for the fees to be waived, Your Honor.
I will waive the probation fees. He will, once he's released, he will need to complete the MHET and subject himself to any treatment or counseling as recommended by the provider. I will waive all probation fees, so he will be reporting to probation every month for the rest of the 12 months, and he would need to stay away from MARTA in accordance with any active MARTA suspension. So he would need to check with the Lindbergh location. I believe that's their headquarters, to see if he has any active suspensions, and he would need to stay away from MARTA until that suspension ends. Can we unmute? Okay, thank you. Mr. Graham, you would need to complete the MHET, and I'm sure you understand what that is. I'm sure your attorney has explained that to you. And if you have any active MARTA suspensions, you must stay away from all MARTA property, all MARTA stations, bus stations, and train stations until that suspension has expired. And you'll be on probation every month for the rest of the 12 months, but you won't have to pay probation fees. You will have to report. Do you want to proceed with the plea, or would you like to go have a trial?
I'll proceed with the plea.
You want to proceed with the plea, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Findling, do you have any objection to proceeding?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And do you stipulate to at least the venue and ID?
I do, Judge.
Mr. Graham, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, with regards to this particular plea, are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcohol at the present time?
No, I'm not.
And given the circumstances that you are facing, is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No.
You satisfied with the representation you've received so far from Mr. Findlay?
Yes.
If you decide to plead guilty to this one count of disorderly conduct, you will have to give up your constitutional rights to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to confront your accuser, argue your defenses before the judge or the jury, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of disorderly conduct?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 20 days. Once you are released, you have 48 hours to report to probation. While you are on probation, you are to complete an MHET with a qualified provider. And if the provider recommends that you undergo treatment or counseling, you must subject yourself to that treatment. At all times, you are to stay away from all MARTA property in accordance with any active suspensions. And you're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, and you're not to possess any weapons and no firearms. That concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, you have position number 30, Mr. Richardson.
Excuse me, Judge, before you move on to 4 South, I just wanted to let you know position 36 is in quarantine and we're done here in courtroom 2.
All right, thank you.
Understood.
Position 36 is in quarantine. Okay. And we'll reset that to February 10th. Right.
Well, Judge, he did have a time served.
Oh, he did? Do you
He
think
did,
he'll be
Judge.
out of Francois Gabriel Vela, when will he be out of quarantine?
They said he had a time served.
I have no idea, Your Honor.
We're not sure, Judge.
Okay.
All right, we'll do February 8th, and if he's still in queue, then February 10th, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
The count is already out. So he's like, no.
All right, let Ms. Lewis know. First person to inform, Ms. Lewis. Position, I'm sorry, was it 31 at 4 South?
Number 30.
30. We have Raymond Richardson, position 30, accusation 22 CR 0000273Y, accused of having a expired or no license plate, brake light or turn signal violation, driving without a valid license, and failure to maintain insurance. Alleged incident date is, January 19, 2022. And this is going to be a negotiated plea. Mr. Richardson, you have a right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Anything you say, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is going to be Patrice Helen. For purposes of this negotiated plea, may I place you under oath? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Speak up, please.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Webb, what's the recommendation?
Your Honor, the state is recommending 12 months to serve, 30 days, credit for time served, balance probated, a $500 for this driving without a valid license, a $500 fine in exchange for a guilty plea.
All right. Now, are you Are you applying this to all these open charges or any of these charges being merged or null pros?
This applies to all of the charges, Your Honor.
$500 suspended fine is with respect to which charge?
Driving without a valid license, Your Honor.
All right.
And
all
Judge,
the rest, yes, go ahead.
Since it's probated, we just asked, since there's no conditions other than the fee, that the probation fees be waived.
Your Honor, we could do balance suspended. I'm sorry, that was an oversight.
Understood.
Initially, it wasn't a suspended fine, but due to his time that he has been confined, the state agreed to make it suspended. So there's no need for probation.
All right. The only thing I'm going to impose in addition to this concurrent sentence is no driving unless he has a valid driver's license and proper insurance and registration. Okay. All right. Ms. Helen, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
Yes, Judge, we agree with the state's recommendations and we do stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID.
Thank you. Mr. Richardson, first of all, are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcoholic beverages?
No.
And are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Ms. Helen?
Yes.
If you decide to accept this plea today, you would have to give up your constitutional rights to go back to court, have a trial before a judge or a jury, have the opportunity to confront your accuser, have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence and present your defenses, as well as have the state try to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of having an expired or no license plate, a brake light or turn signal violation, driving without a valid license, and failure to maintain automobile insurance?
Guilty.
Your plea is recorded and your sentences would be running concurrent for all the charges. For driving without a valid license is 12 months to serve, was it 15 days?
Yes.
To serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so his time in jail would be concluded. The remainder time will be suspended. And for driving without a valid license, there's also a $500 fine that's going to be suspended. For the remaining charges, they're all concurrent, and it's 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended. Mr. Richardson, you are not to operate a motor vehicle unless you have a valid driver's license issued by any state, proper registration for the vehicle you operate, as well as adequate automobile insurance. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right, that concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Next, we have number 25, Mr. Newton.
Okay. Do we have any cases at South Annex today? No?
No, Judge, we didn't.
We have Joseph Darius Newton, case number 22 CR 00271G, accused of criminal trespass from January 19, 2022. This is going to be a negotiated plea. Mr. Newton, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you presently is Ms. Catrice Howard. For purposes of the plea, may I place you under oath? Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. Ms. Webb, what's the recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. In Mr. Newton's case, the state is recommending 12 months to serve 30 days, credit for time served 15 days, balance suspended, and a stay away order from the Hilton office tower. I will get that physical address for the Hilton office address, Your Honor. Just give me 1 second.
And while we're getting the address, Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge, we do agree with the state's recommendation. We also stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID.
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Webb, if you have it.
Yes, Your Honor. That is 250 Piedmont Avenue Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, 30308.
All right, thank you. Mr. Newton, have you understood the proceedings so far? You need to say yes or no. All right, speak a little louder. If I can't hear you, I can't move forward with the plea. Are you under the influence of any kind of alcoholic beverages or medication? Can't hear you, sir.
Mr. Newton, can you come closer to the screen and speak to the judge for me?
Speak louder. Are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcoholic beverages? You need to say yes or no. Speak up.
Talk real loud. No.
Okay, I heard that. Mr. Newton, are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Miss Helen? Speak up.
Sure.
All right, I heard sure. Now, Mr. Newton, if you decide to plead guilty to one count of criminal trespass, you will have to give up your rights, specifically the right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or jury, to confront your accuser, to challenge the state's evidence, present your defenses, and argue your case before a judge or a jury, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. These are your rights if you decide to have a trial. But if you decide to plead guilty today, you have to give up these rights. Are you prepared to do so?
I'm not guilty.
You're pleading not guilty? All right. Ms. Helen, I understand your client would like to have a trial.
Sure, Judge. Can I get the number to 4 South so I can speak to him real quick, Judge?
You gotta do a breakout session.
Okay, it'll just be real quick. It'll be real quick.
All right, Miss Helen and 4 South in a breakout room, please. All right, since we don't have anyone else other than at 4 South, I'm just going to go down the calendar until Miss Helen comes back with Mr.
Mr. Finley, can you get those, when they go over the calendar, can you get the dates and notes?
Yeah, I will. No problem.
Thanks.
Okay. So position 1, that was arraigned and further notice for trial. That's Mr. SQ. Position 2, Sulaiman Barker. We didn't address him. He was supposed to be arraigned. Mr. Finley, do you have an announcement? If you could unmute, please.
Yes, Your Honor. So that one was, we're on position. Can you repeat it one more time, Judge?
Position 2, Sulaiman Barker.
Yes, so that, right. So Mr. Bacher was position 2 and 3. Number 2 was not guilty, jail, jury, bond hearing. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're asking, Judge.
He didn't appear. He was
Right.
not brought in for the Zoom. So what would you like to do?
Can we get him reset,
Okay.
please? Judge?
Did you want him reset or did you want to file a waiver of arraignment? Or you were seeking a bond hearing, right?
Yes, for
Okay.
one of them, it was a bond hearing, Your Honor.
Are you planning to file a waiver of arraignment for either one? For position
Yes, I
3?
can. Yes, I can.
All right.
And I can
So-
go let him know that I did that.
All right. So position 3, you will file a waiver of arraignment. Okay, please make sure you email that to Miss Katrina Lewis. And position 2 is going to be reset to February 10th.
Yeah, this is number 2 you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Sulaiman Barker, is he available?
Now I'm about to go get him when I get done up here.
Oh, good. Then we'll address Mr. Barker. Please do. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, while we're waiting for Mr. Barker, 4 South, Miss Helen?
This is going to be a jail, jury, and arraignment.
Okay. So Mr. Newton is not going to accept the plea. Mr.
No, Judge.
Newton? Okay. So Mr. Newton, and do you waive a reading of the accusation, Ms. Helen?
I do, Judge.
All right. So Mr. Newton, you've already been advised of your rights. You are accused of criminal trespass in case 22 CR 000-271G, allegedly occurring on January 19, 2022 in Fulton County, Georgia. With regards to this case, once you enter a not guilty plea, the case will be scheduled for trial, at which time then the state would have the complete burden to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the state prevails, you could be convicted and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine. Given this information, how do you plead? Repeat.
It's really
How do you-
low, Judge.
I know. You need to speak up, Mr. Newton, so we can all hear you.
Not guilty.
All right, I heard not guilty. Would you agree, Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge.
All right, this case has been arraigned and further notice for trial.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Newton. That concludes Mr. Newton's case.
All right, next we have, this number 15, I'm not 15, number 25.
No.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Got number 19.
Position 19, Joseph Anthony Magia.
This is
Mr.
Cordell King.
Is this Mr. Magia?
No, it's Cordell King.
Yeah, position 19 is my client, Cordell King.
Okay, sorry about that. Position 19. We have position 19, Mr. Cordell King. Mr. King, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Zach Finley. And Mr. King, your case 22 CR 000-275D has one accusation for battery domestic violence from January 19, 2022. This is going to be a non-negotiated plea hearing, which means that the prosecutor is going to give me a recommendation and your attorney is going to give me an alternative recommendation. I will let you know which recommendation I will accept before we move forward. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's plea recommendation is 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served 16 days, balance probated, no further contact with victim Nazir, spelled Nazir, Edmund, a stay away from 38 Fenwick, spelled Fenwick, Place, Sandy Springs, a family violence intervention program, 40 hours community service, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, in this case, defendant battered his juvenile nephew, Mr. Edmund, by intentionally grabbing him, scratching, and fighting. Mr. Edmund had physical marks on his neck. The defendant admitted that he got into a physical altercation due to grabbing his nephew first, and they live in the same household. Due to the factual allegations of defendant battering his juvenile nephew, this being a family violence case and defendant's criminal history in Pennsylvania of 2 simple assault charges, we request the plea offer remain the same and that the balance be probated. Nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Finley?
Yes, Judge Law. Based off my conversation with Mr. King, he was, okay with the stay away from the Fenwick Place location. Additionally, I told him VIP that was, gonna stay, and he was okay with that. But the 40 hours of community service, we did have an issue with. Transportation is a big issue for Mr. King. Additionally, he's really wants to look for a job to help provide for his family. Money is an issue as well. So we would be asking for maybe a reduction of the community service as well as the fees be waived, Your Honor.
All right. I can waive the probation fees for up to 7 months. So he will start paying probation fees from September 1st. 2022 until the 12 months is complete. You need to complete the domestic violence program. 40 hours community service. Explain to me this transportation issue.
He did not have a car, and Your Honor, another thing I did want to point out to Mr. King and to reemphasize, because I know you really stress, Your Honor, is to have an address. He does not have an address right now. So I really want to remind him, because I don't want him to end up back to update that address. But yes, Your Honor, the transportation was an issue. He did not have a car. So just, it would be difficult for him to get around. And I want him to focus on obviously making a living, providing for himself and his family, and getting his life back on track.
So I gather he was living at Fenwick Place originally. Okay. Yeah, I'll dispense with the 40 hours of community service, but you'll need to make sure that he completes the domestic violence intervention program. And once he is released on probation, he must update probation with his new address within 30 days of being released. Mr. King, is that possible? You need to speak up, sir.
Yes.
All right. Shall we proceed then?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Do you stipulate to venue and ID?
I do.
All right. Mr. King, if you raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
All right. I'm going to ask you some questions. You can put your hand out. And it's very important that I hear your response, just like you spoke loudly and clearly just now, which was what we like. Because if I'm not convinced that you are going to enter into this plea knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently, then I'm not going to accept the plea and we can have your case scheduled for trial. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
Can't hear you.
I said yes. I
Now,
understand.
that I heard you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Mr. King, first of all, are you under the influence of any kind of medication or drugs or alcoholic beverages?
No.
And are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Mr. Finley?
Not really. He didn't say what I told him, what I was telling him. I have a car and I do work, but I was trying to reduce the probation because I was trying to go back to school. And I was trying to, my godmom was getting ready for me to go back to school for my GED, and she was going to help me do that. But I was going to ask for just community service, and I can do that. I can do community service because I have a car.
I apologize that I had that incorrectly down.
All right, let's pin down exactly what
So,
Mr. King wants.
Okay, I had down, I'm sorry, Mr. King, that you did not have a car and you were at Marco's Pizza. I did have that. You were a manager there.
Yes, and I'm a driver.
Okay, I apologize that I had that down.
No problem. So he can do the 40 hours community service. He does have transportation.
In that case, yes.
Okay, that's good. That's good. He will do the domestic violence program. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And he will stay away from 38 Fenwick Place, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what you're asking is if probation can be reduced. In other words, if I'm hoping I'm not speaking out of turn, Mr. Finling, but you've had conversations with Mr. King. Are you asking for probation to terminate and go non-reporting if you complete your conditions?
Yes, I am, Your Honor. I'm asking once he does complete the community service and the FEI, if his probation can become not reporting or balance suspended, Your Honor.
Okay, so now we've got all that straightened out. Is there anything else that Mr. Finling has not communicated to me?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so he has
No, Your Honor.
communicated everything that you have. Good, good. Ms. Mitchell, do you have any objection to non-reporting probation once everything else is completed?
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. So we are now going back to my question again. Yes,
Your
Mr.
Honor,
Finley?
I was not on the Zoom for about 15 seconds there. Mine was loading. So I don't believe I had an opportunity to answer you. I don't know if you heard me.
Oh, to which question? I asked so many questions, I lose track.
Okay, no,
Sorry.
you're okay. You asked like anything further, and literally your face froze and everything froze on my screen. So I just
Was
want to
it like that AT&T commercial where it was like frozen weird?
I just wanted to make sure I didn't like miss anything if you said anything.
No, I'll repeat myself again. I do believe that we are all on the same page as to what Mr. King wants.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So Mr. King, again, I ask you, are you now satisfied with the representation of Mr. Finley?
Yes.
Okay. And is anyone forcing you to take this plea?
No.
Now, you have to understand that if you decide to plead guilty to battery domestic violence, you will have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of counsel to challenge the state's evidence, to present your defenses, confront your accuser, examine witnesses, and have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of battery domestic violence?
Yes.
Speak up.
Yes.
How do you plead to one count of battery domestic violence?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, not guilty. I mean guilty.
You're pleading guilty, is that correct?
Yes.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 30 days. Credit for time served 16 days, which means your time at the jail is concluded. You'll be placed on probation. You'll report to probation within 48 hours of being released, which should be Monday. Today is Thursday. Okay.
Probation is on the line with one question.
Oh, probation?
Yes,
Yes.
she's on the line with
Ms. Bond, do you have a question?
Yes, I asked Mr. Fingley in the chat for the contact number.
I just sent that to Ms. Bond.
Yes, he provided it for me, considering Mr. King doesn't have an address, but thank you all.
Thank you. And Mr. King, as you see, probation will be monitoring you. You have 30 days to update your address, your new address with probation. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. You will complete a 6-month domestic violence intervention program at your expense. That's why I'm going to waive probation fees for the next 7 months, up to and including August of 2022. If you are still completing your classes by end of August, you would need to start paying probation fees from September 1st, 2022 onwards. But if you're done with your classes, then and you're done with your 40 hours of community service, then your probation will be non-reported. Understood?
Okay. Yes.
So you have until the end of August to finish your classes and your 40 hours of voluntary community service. At all times while you're on probation, whether it's reporting or non-reporting, you are not to have any contact with Nazir Edmond. Stay 200 yards away from him and do not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. Understood?
Okay. Yes.
And also to stay away from 38 Fenwick Place in Sandy Springs, Georgia. Do you have any personal property that you need to retrieve from that location?
Yes.
You can return one time only with a police officer to retrieve your belongings, and that visit cannot exceed 2 hours, and there must not be any breach of peace.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. That concludes this case. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, going to the third floor now. Be back on.
Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh.
Third floor. While we're waiting for third floor, Miss Bond with probation, I've been telling folks to report to probation on Monday, which is within 48 hours, or was it Tuesday? Did I get the wrong day?
No, Monday is fine. Thank you, Judge. I took notes of it.
Okay, thank you. Didn't want you to have a stampede on Monday, so. All right, let's see. Third floor, whenever we're ready. All right, I guess while we're waiting for third floor, I have no idea who we're going to be addressing on third floor. Did Miss, let me see. All right, position 1, SQ is arraigned and further notice for trial. 2 and 3 is on hold. He may be showing up. Position 4 was arraigned and further notice for trial. Position 5, Barner, was arraigned and further notice for trial. Position 6 was a plea, Gordon. Position 7, Brock, was a plea. Just to digress, the add-on calendar, Brock, was also a plea. Position 8, Brunson, I see that he was released. Position 9, Coleman is arraigned and further notice. Position 10, Demetrius Coleman is an MH reset to February 17. Position 11 is a MH reset. Shall I also make it to February 17?
No, Judge. For position 11, just want to make sure I double check the dates. Hold for that date, Judge. I apologize.
Let's do 210 on that one.
Okay.
210. All right. 210. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr. Howard. Position 12, Daniel is a plea. Position 13 is a plea. Position 14 is further notice. It was arraigned. Position 15, Gerald Duplessis is going to be a hold. I understand that's going to be a plea. All right, we're just waiting to see when jail shows up. 16 was arraigned and further notice, Mr. Egel per private attorney Will Arnold. Position 17 was a plea. Position 18, Green, is an MH reset to February 8th.
And actually, Judge, let's put that one on the 10th as well, Ms. Crawford.
All right, sir.
All right.
No problem. February 10th, MH reset. Position 19 was a plea. Position 20, I have a hold for announcement, Joseph Magia.
Yes, the 210, Judge. That one as well.
210?
Yes.
Okay, MH reset 210.
Yes.
All right. Position 21, DeMonte McCord is, and 22 is Mr. McCord. I understand that a waiver of arraignment is going to be filed. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge. I'll be sending that with my other paperwork.
All right. Please make sure it's sent to Ms. Lewis.
Is it Katrina?
Katrina Lewis. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put my information in the chat. Did you see it, Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Position 23 is a non-negotiated plea.
Oh, Judge, we reset that to February 10th.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So then there'll be 7 days at that time. Yep.
Yes. Right. Yes, Judge.
24 is an MH reset to, I have 224. Is that correct?
We're going to move that to 210, Judge.
All right. MH reset.
Yes.
February 10th.
Status, yes.
All right. Position 25 was arraigned and further notice for trial. That was Mr. Newton who changed his mind. Okay. Position 26, Mr. Nguyen is an MH reset to
210, Judge, I believe.
Yes.
Does he speak English well?
We need an interpreter. At times he can communicate, but yes, we definitely need I believe it was a Vietnamese interpreter.
All right, so for 210, we'll need a Vietnamese interpreter. Position 27, Ms. Helen will file a waiver of arraignment for position 27 and 28.
And actually, Judge, Miss Helen, we can save the work. I think he did. He's been arraigned according to Odyssey on the 27th or something. Judge, if you have, I've said you may see it. So I don't even think we need to do it.
Will both cases arraigned, 27 and 28?
Yes.
Okay.
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 We're good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
So let's just reset for trial further notice.
Yeah, positions 27 and 28 are going to be further notice for trial. Position 29, I have an MH reset to 210.
Correct, Judge.
Don't see the jail appear yet, so I'm still gonna go. Position 30, Richardson is a plea. Position 31, Nick Smith is a medical reset to February 10th.
And he's all the way to 34, Judge. He's position 31 to 34, so.
All right, all these cases, medical reset to 210.
And actually, Judge, for him, Miss Helen, did they indicate how long he would be alone out?
No, they didn't. They did not.
Let's try 2-8 for him if possible. He's a loan out, Judge, to Grady. So we're not.
Let me just check on 2-8.
She's talking about February 8th, that will have to be an add-on counter. The counter's already been out.
Okay, so
Let's keep it to 210 then.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay.
Position 35, I have MH reset to 210.
Yes.
Yes.
Position 36 was a plea.
Well, no, Judge, he was a.
Quarantine, excuse me, quarantine.
Reset to 210.
Yeah, reset. I had
Well,
a
you have to
reset to
add on.
2-8.
Well, it's going to be an add-on count.
Yeah.
So is it 2-8 or 210?
2-8, because when we originally reset it, it got a slot on 2-8 and on calendar, okay?
Okay.
And position 37 is MH reset to 210. And 38 Witherspoon is MH reset to, I'm changing that to 210.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Yes, Judge. Just so you know, Judge, all these 210s, I spoke with Mr. Jordan, we're trying to do the track B calendars again to keep up with those, and Ms. Crawford and I are going to work on those together on that status calendar on 210.
I don't mind.
Yeah, okay, great, because you remember we were doing that before. It works well, so we're going to try to go back to that to clear this calendar of all those inmates.
Right.
Yeah.
Did y'all agree to put these on a separate counter? We're gonna call it a separate counter?
Yeah,
So
Mike
not
said it's
put
right. It'll be a separate calendar with those cases on it.
Okay.
That would be much better. Are we starting that at 9 o'clock also, or putting it on
Well,
a
it
different
will
time slot?
probably be at 11, Judge, after this calendar.
Okay,
Yes,
I think that would be better.
Yes.
Less HIPAA issues, so.
yes.
And I just want to clarify, Judge
Yes, sir.
Law, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
sir. No problem.
So they're attempting to get Mr. Bacher position 2 and 3. Is that correct right now?
That's what we were told.
Okay. So for now though, I'm putting reset 210 for position 2. Is that correct?
I am holding for announcement on positions 2, 3, Mr. Barker,
So I should
and position 15,
So, okay,
which is all your cases, Gerald Duplessis.
right.
So, Trina, can we call someone in the jail to see if it's good to go?
And
We can be in recess. Yeah, we can be in recess until we get confirmation that the jail is going to resume. All right. So
Excuse
y'all
me,
want to
Judge.
take a break? Yes, Mr. Chelsea.
This is Quandale Brunson. Am I scheduled for court today, ma'am? Your Honor?
Okay, let's see your face.
I don't know.
Mr. Brunson, I originally had you, but you were released. So you did not have court today.
Okay, I just wanted to comply.
Okay. I'm sorry. All right. So, Mr. Brunson, your name Quandale Brunson?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You were released. You made bond, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like you were released on the 30th.
Okay. So Mr. Brunson, the only two things you need to do, make sure we have a correct address on you on file. If you need to check to see we have the correct address, you need to come down to J150 at 160 Prior Street and make sure we have the correct address for you. Understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the second thing you have to do is when you get a notice to show up in court, do show up because we don't want to issue a bench warrant for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Otherwise, thank you for being here. You're free to go.
All right.
And there he is. Okay. You be good. Take care.
Okay. You have a good one too, Judge, Your Honor. How do you
Take
get
care.
up? Oh, how do you leave?
Just leave meeting. Oh, well, you can, okay. Thank you. Free South, welcome back.
Number 2, please.
All right. Hello, who do we have in 3 South?
This is number 2, Mr. Bakir.
Thank you, sir. We have position 2 and 3, Mr. Sulaiman Bakr. And Mr. Bakr, my name is Judge Lal. First of all, I'd like to remind you that you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your cases, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Mr. Zach Findling. Do you see your attorney on the screen?
Yes, I see my attorney.
Okay, good. Mr. Barker is going to be arraigned. In other words, he's going to enter a not guilty plea on the charges brought against him in these 2 cases. The 2 cases are first 22 CR 000093C, in which Mr. Barker is charged with 2 misdemeanor offenses, including criminal trespass. In the second case, 22 CR 000094C, Mr. Barker is accused of possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. With regards to both cases, Mr. Barker, I understand that you will be entering a not guilty plea. Mr. Findling.
Non-contest plea.
All right, just 1 second. Mr. Findling, do you waive
Yes.
a reading of the accusation?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. So, Mr. Barker, I understand you want a trial in both cases, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you will be entering a not guilty plea when I ask you the question. But first, listen very carefully. You have been charged with 3 misdemeanor offenses in the 2 cases I have mentioned. Upon your entry of a not guilty plea, the case will go to trial. At the time of trial, you will have the assistance of counsel to represent you. The prosecutor has the complete burden to prove the charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. If the prosecutor succeeds, you could be convicted of 1 or more of the charges brought against you and face a penalty of up to a year in prison and or up to $1,000 fine for each convicted offense. Given this information, how do you plead to both cases?
I'm guilty.
I'm sorry, were you going to go with not guilty?
No, guilty.
Not guilty, is that what you said?
Oh, I'm saying guilty.
Okay, so you want to plead guilty?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so this is different from what you and your
Yes.
attorney discussed.
Yes.
So, Mr. Findlay?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Bacher yesterday, and if you don't mind, Mr. Bacher, I did speak with you and we talked about pleading not guilty, and I
All
got
right.
I got information.
I'm going to put you in a breakout room,
Okay.
okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
Your Honor, before you put Attorney Finley in the breakout room, I just want to bring to his attention that the defendant actually has 4 open cases. And
Okay,
it was
but
decided
I'm only addressing the 2.
Okay.
I do see the other 2.
Okay, no worries.
Just give us a moment. Deputy at 3 South, we're putting 3 South in a breakout room, so it'll be a brief conversation between Mr. Bacher and his attorney. We'll be there soon. Just 1 second. Okay. Yes, Ms. Mitchell, did you have an announcement for a different case?
Well, I was just wondering for position 4 and 5, if you could say the results for that again, just for clarification. I think I may have misheard you.
They were arraigned and further notice for trial. And I don't believe I modified bond. Bond was left as is.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All righty.
Mr. Finling, any announcement? What's the announcement?
Yes, Your Honor. So,
Oh, just one second. I'm waiting for Ms. Mitchell to come back on. There she is. Okay. Yes, sir.
okay, so 2 and 3, consolidated plea, obviously. So he wants to plead not guilty. I mean, excuse me, wants to plead guilty. It'd be a non-negotiated guilty plea.
Okay. All right. And for both cases. All right. So we're going to have a plea hearing.
Right.
All right. Good. Mr. Barker, we are going to instead have a plea hearing for both your cases. Are you aware of the charges that have been brought against you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And so please remember your right to remain silent about the facts of the case. Your attorney is Mr. Findlay. I'm going to hear from Ms. Mitchell first, and then I'm going to hear from your attorney. And then depending on the circumstances, I'll let you know which recommendation I'm going to accept. And then I'll let you know before you proceed with your plea.
Okay.
Ms. Mitchell, we're going to consider the pleas for both cases. I understand that this is going to be consolidated. In terms of consolidating, are you offering a concurrent sentence for all 3 charges?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good. So we're addressing 22 CR 000093C and 94C. Please go ahead and tell me the recommendation for criminal trespass and the charge on which I'm waiving sounding. as well as the second charge of marijuana, the third charge of marijuana.
Yes, Your Honor. The plea recommendation is 12 months to serve, and since we're just doing positions 2 and 3 and not the additional cases, we will drop it down to 60 days confinement, credit for time served, 28 days, balance probated, a stay away from MARTA, a SDET, 40 hours community service, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, the defendant has an extensive criminal history. Defendant has 7 criminal trespass convictions and 18 criminal trespass arrests, 2 disorderly conduct convictions, and 4 disorderly conduct arrests. He also has another charge that we won't sound on in 2021 that's open.
Okay.
He has 3 failure to appears, and we're concerned he may be homeless. So that's going to be the basis of our recommendation, Your Honor.
All right, so concurrent sentences for all 3 charges is 12 months to serve 60 days. Serve 60 days, credit for time served 28 days. So he has 1 more day to serve at the jail.
Yeah.
All right. And once he completes that additional day, and if he's released on the other 2 cases, then he will be placed on probation. And while he's on probation, he's to complete an SDET, which probation will explain to him, 40 hours of voluntary community service, and stay away from all MARTA property. Put that in accordance with any suspension that is in place. And Mr. Finling, you do understand that he has 2 other open cases, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I
And what's the,
yeah,
and yes, and Mr.
I explained, I know.
All right.
Your Honor,
And
I explained this, to Mr. Bacher, and this is what he wants to do.
Okay.
All right. And what is your alternative recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. We are asking for time served, Your Honor. Additionally, community service, if that could be waived. Mr. Bacher, his only income is disability checks. He does live with his mom. The conditions for Mr. Bacher, it's a recipe for failure, as he doesn't have a car. Unfortunately, finances are a big problem in his life. And, he's obviously been in jail for a little bit now. And I just, I want him to have an opportunity to live and get his life together. He said his mom has been in close communication with him and that he's going to live there. But without a car, and he does only get disability checks. I just feel like too much community service in these classes are just a recipe for failure, Your Honor.
As you know, the other 2 cases are on an upcoming calendar for the 11th.
I know, right.
Wait, so on February 11th?
Let me just repeat this. His 2 other cases, let me list the first one, 20 COV 000478. Mr. Bacher is accused of criminal trespass from October 15, 2020, is scheduled for arraignment or plea on February 11th, 2022 at 11:30 a.m. at our ORCA calendar. I don't know, it's February 11th, a Friday? So, Friday. Okay, so that's
on Friday.
That's on Friday. So he'll be before me on February 11th. Okay. And then the other case, 20 COV 000478, is actually scheduled for 225, but I think it should actually be. I think it should actually be on a different. 225, was it? Is that the next ORCA calendar? 478 is scheduled for 2. Oh, I thought they both were on. Oh, I saw a different date. 478 and the 298.
298 Yeah, they got it on 225. I don't know why, but they both need to be together.
Okay. The second case ending in 20 COV 0000298 is scheduled for 225. I think we're going to have to put that on the 211.
Yeah.
So let's tentatively say both are going to be addressed. We know one's going to be addressed on 211. We'll have both addressed on 211.
Okay.
I completely, Mr. Bacher, I completely understand. I mean, obviously, I want to make sure, I don't know if we should reset this. I really want to make sure he understands, because I've explained this to him and how this could negatively impact him. And I, obviously want the best for Mr. Bacher. So,
Mr. Bacher, do you want to address all your 4 cases on one day, or do you want to address?
I just want time service so I can go home. That's all I want.
You won't be going home today. You won't be going home tomorrow. You got another court date on February 11th. Oh, well, he doesn't have a bond in the other 2 cases.
I was trying to get time served today. I was just trying to get time served like my lawyer was telling me. He even started trying to tell you that time served, But I've been here for a while. Like I said, I ain't really doing nothing,
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Bacher. Mr. Bacher.
Number 1, I can address all 4 cases on February 11th if we want to do a consolidated plea, which I think is the most efficient way of addressing this.
Can we please do that, Judge Law?
But if you want, we can address this plea today. It'll be 1 day, and then he'll be released. The other 2 cases are not holding him on bond.
That's what I was talking about right there.
But he will need to be placed on probation. You will be going on probation.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
And if he doesn't show up in court on February 11th via Zoom or in person, a bench warrant will be issued for his arrest.
Yes.
Mr. Bacher.
That's what I'm talking about, Zach. That was you telling me.
Mr. Bacher.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking out for you, and I have your best interest in mind. What the judge is saying is that you have a couple more cases that are upcoming, and it would be the most efficient.
That's okay. Like she said, I'll get out tomorrow. I just have to come to probation. I just have to report to probation, and I have to come to court on the 11th. I'm with that, Zach. I'm with that. I agree to that.
All right.
I agree to that, Zach. I really agree to that. I ain't really doing that, Zach.
No, Mr. Bacher, this is on the record. Please.
The police also really harassed me.
Okay. Mr. Bacher. Mr. Bacher.
Yes, sir.
So you want to plead?
I want to do that, Zach. I want to do that, please, Zach.
Mr. Finley, in your professional opinion,
yes,
should he proceed with the plea today and then be released and come back to court on the 11th in between probation, or should he address all cases on the 11th?
Yeah, in my professional opinion, no. I have his best interest in mind, and I just don't want that to negatively impact him. So I feel, uncomfortable putting these guilty pleas right before he's about to be in court.
All right. Mr. Bacher, if you decide to take the plea today, you'll be doing it against your lawyer's advice.
Okay.
Because he does not believe that taking a guilty plea today before you address all 4 cases would be in your best interest.
Okay. I would like to do this against his will. Guilty of all 4 pleas.
Okay, so you're doing this against attorney's advice.
Yes.
All right, that's on the record. Shall we proceed, Mr. Finley?
Yes, Your Honor. As long as, like you said, I appreciate it. It's on the record that.
All right. Yeah. So, Mr. Sulaiman Bacher, we are going to proceed with your plea. And as we have already noted on the record, this is against your counsel's professional and well-reasoned opinion. So, Mr. Bacher, Ms. Mitchell has already articulated the plea offer. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if he is going to plead to all 4, the confinement day is going to be 120 days.
No, he's only pleading to the 2 cases today.
Understood.
So it's going to be 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for time served 20 days. He's got one more day to serve at jail. And once he's completed the additional day, he has to report to probation within 48 hours, which means no later than next Tuesday.
Okay.
And then he'll need to come back to court on February 11th to address the other 2 citations he received for criminal trespass.
Okay. I'm with it.
And it'll be on 9 a.m. It'll be at 9 a.m. on February 11th. Okay.
Okay.
So, Mr. Barker, first of all, Mr. Findling, I want to first let Mr. Barker know that I'm accepting the state's recommendation that he has to be on probation. While he's on probation, he needs to report to stay away from all martyr property. He needs to complete a SDET program, complete 40 hours of community service, and not consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. Do you still want to proceed with the plea, Mr. Barker?
Yes.
And Mr. Findling, do you stipulate to venue and ID?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Barker, do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Barker, are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcoholic beverages?
I'm on medication.
All right. And are you able to understand the proceedings so far?
Yes, I am.
All right. And even though your counsel has advised you differently, are you still satisfied with this representation?
Yes, I'm satisfied.
And if you decide to take this plea today for 2 out of your 4 cases, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to be able to have the assistance of counsel, to challenge the state's case, to present evidence, to challenge the state's evidence, to confront your accuser, to present your defenses, and have the state try to prove all 3 charges against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, I am.
How do you plead to the 2 charges in case ending in 9-3C, including criminal trespass?
Guilty.
How do you plead to possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce in case ending in 9-4C?
Guilty.
Your sentence is 12 months to serve 60 days, credit for time served 28 days. You'll be given, you have 1 more day to serve at the Fulton County Jail. You'll be released after that. Within 24 hours of being released, you have to report to probation. You need to update probation with a good contact number and possibly a mailing address. Do you understand?
I understand.
And while you're on probation, you must stay away from all martyr property, complete an SDET program, possibly at Grady Hospital, complete 40 hours of voluntary community service, and not consume any illegal drugs, alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. This sentence is going to run concurrent for all 3 charges. Understood?
Understood.
All right. Just 1 second, please. Mr. Barker, could you lower your mask, please?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Findling, is this Sulaiman Barker?
Let me pull up.
All right, you can replace your mask, sir.
Gosh.
See what I mean?
Wow. Yeah. Because that's what we originally announced, right? What, that it was
That's
Mr. Barker.
please
Yeah.
acknowledge. I have the same picture for different individuals.
Yeah.
So what is your
Looks like
name?
this is not.
Suleiman Bakar,
And what's your date of birth?
August 15th, 1980.
There may, okay, so we have the right individual. I don't know if the picture is correct. So this may be an
Correct.
issue.
I just cut my hair while I was on the unit. The picture's correct. I just cut my hair while I was on the unit. I had dreadlocks.
Hey, Judge, I'm looking at Odyssey now. There's definitely different photos. There's a mugshot from 1999 with a different person on it. I'm looking at jailings under this case number for Mr. 22 CR 00093C. If you go to jailings and look at the mugshots from that, it has him with long dreads, and then it has another guy that looks completely different. So.
It's me, Suleiman Bakar. It's me, August 15, 1980, 255-396592. It's me, Judge.
I'm satisfied that this is him. The jailing photographs have to be corrected by the Records Department in jail, but I'm satisfied that this is him.
Okay, thank you.
So he has one more day to serve at jail. And Deputy, this individual has one more day to serve at the jail, upon which he'll be released. He has a callback to probation on Tuesday, and he has to return to court in courtroom G33, February 11th at 9 a.m. For his other two remaining cases. Failure to appear will result in a bench warrant being issued for his arrest. Do you understand, Mr. Barker?
I understand.
All right, sir. Good luck. Take care. All right. 3 South, we have one other position 15, Gerald Duplessis. Do you have Mr. Duplessis anywhere? It's only the beginning of 2022. We can work out all these kinks. I think we'll move smoothly for the rest of the year. So, all right. Good morning, sir. Are you Gerald Duplessis?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Duplessis, my name is Judge Law. Your case is 22 CR 0000179G. You're accused of criminal trespass from January 12, 2022. Mr. Duplessis, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and Mr. Zach Findling is representing you. Mr. Findling, I understand this is going to be a negotiated plea, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's see how we go in this one. All right, Mr. Duplessis, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm this information you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Mitchell, if you'd like to tell us what is the recommendation for Mr. Duplessis, you may put your hand down, sir.
The state's plea recommendation is going to be 12 months to serve, 30 days confinement, credit for time served 21 days, valid suspended. So this is a time served plea. Stay away from Kroger on 2452 Morosgo, spelled Morosgo Way, Northeast Atlanta. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Findling, do you stipulate to the factual basis, venue, and ID?
We do, Your Honor, as well as the state's recommendation.
Thank you. Mr. Duplessis, are you under the influence of any kind of medication or alcoholic beverages?
No, ma'am.
And are you satisfied with the representation of your attorney, Mr. Findling?
Yes, ma'am.
Is anyone forcing you to take a plea today?
No, ma'am.
If you decide to take this plea today, you would have to give up your constitutional right to go back to court, to have a trial before a judge or a jury, to have representation so that you could challenge the state's case, present your own defenses, confront your accuser, as well as have the state try to prove the charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Are you prepared to give up these rights?
Yes, ma'am. I do understand.
How do you plead to one count of criminal trespass?
Guilty.
Your sentence is time served. You will be released within 24 hours unless you have any other cases at the jail. And once you're released, you need to stay away from that Kroger store on Morosco Way. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you return to that location, you'll be arrested and charged with criminal trespass again. And we get to do this rodeo all over again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. You're free to go. 3 South, do we have anyone else?
Yes, you do.
That should do it. All right, sir. You take care. We'll see you later on. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. So I believe we've already gone over the whole calendar with the pleas taken on positions 2, 3, and 15. Anything else to update?
Did we do position 6?
Position 6 was a,
Yeah, that was a plea.
that was a plea. Yeah, Mr. Borden.
Oh, yes. we
Yes,
did.
Mr.
I spaced.
Instruction.
My apologies.
He was
Yeah, that was
told
in-
not to get into any more infractions with the law.
Right.
Yes, that was a negotiated plea.
Okay. So we good, everyone? Okay. Okay, everyone, take a break, take a nice long break, and I'll see Mr. Walker for the C calendar.
Don't take too long, we'll break.
No, I'll be there tomorrow, not today.
Miss Montgomery, thank you for your patience. You were amazing. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, everyone, take care.
Thank you,
I'm gonna
Judge.
get a double cappuccino, so see y'all later.
I'll
Take
be
care.
waiting on your paperwork.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, did
Okay.
y'all hear that? Katrina's waiting on your paperwork, so please don't forget
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You.